calls his officers, the Roman commander, and says, listen, we just suffered a bitter blow, but we won the war. We destroyed the wood wall, right? We destroyed the wood wall. Come and sit down. It's okay. We destroyed the wood wall and the stone wall. And the fire will consume the wood wall. In no time, they don't have the material all the time to rebuild the walls. Early in the morning, tomorrow morning, with the crack of dawn, we'll invade and we'll take care of it. Remember, I want them alive. Meanwhile, all this is they're rejoicing here. The Jews are rejoicing. And at a given time, they realize that the game is over. And therefore, first just fear, then panic. Then wherever you take your children and you run to the edge of the cliff, even if you want to jump over, the Romans are waiting for you. You're encircled. Hopeless. In no time, all the blaming fingers were pointed at the rabbi, saying, hey, you brought us here, you take us out of it. Meanwhile, they're here, they could hear the Roman war cries, they could see their hand gestures, they knew what happens if they'll be caught alive, because they saw what happens when you fall alive into the Roman hands. And out of despair, the rabbi then calls them and gathers them in front of the synagogue. And this is where he talks to them. Well, all these when part of the fortress is in flame. And the best way I can convey the message is read to you. Hey, behave yourself. They're entitled. Now, it's okay. They need. Nice. So when they're all seated there, he talks to them. Remember, they're standing, trembling of fear, a matter of life and death. It's bad, right? And that's when he says to them, long ago, we resolved to serve neither the Romans nor anyone else, but only God, who alone is the true and righteous Lord of men. Now, the time has come that bids us prove our determination by our deeds. At such a time, we must not disgrace ourselves. Hitherto, we have never submitted to slavery, even when it brought no danger with it. We must not choose slavery now, and with the penalties that will mean the end of everything if we fall alive into the hands of the Romans. For we were the first of all to revolt, and shall be the last to break off the struggle. And I think it is God who has given us this privilege, that we can die nobly and as free men, unlike others who are unexpectedly defeated. In our case, it is evident that daybreak will end our resistance. But we are free to choose an honorable death with our loved ones. These our enemies cannot prevent, however earnestly they may pray to take us alive, nor can we defeat them in battle. Let our wives die unabused, our children without knowledge of slavery. After that, let us do each other an ungrudging kindness, reserving our freedom as a glorious winding sheet. But first, let our possessions and the whole fortress go up in flames. It will be a bitter blow to the Romans, that I know, to find our persons beyond their reach and nothing left for them to loot. One thing only let us spare, our store of food. It will bear witness, when we are dead, to the fact that we perished, not through want, but because, as we resolved at the beginning, we chose death rather than slavery. If only we had all died before seeing the sacred city utterly destroyed by our enemy hands, the holy sanctuary so impiously uprooted. But since an honorable ambition deluded us into thinking that perhaps we should succeed in avenging her of her enemies and now all hope has fled, abandoning us to our fate. Let us at once choose death with honor and do the kindest thing we can for ourselves, our wives and children, while it is still possible to show ourselves any kindness. After all, we were born to die, we and those we brought into the world. This even the luckiest must face. But outrage, slavery, and the sight of our wives led away to shame with our children, these are not evils to which man is subject by the laws of nature. Men undergo them through their own cowardice if they have a chance to forestall them by death and will not take it. We are very proud of our courage, so we revolted from Rome. Now, in the final stages, they have offered to spare our lives, and we have turned the offer down. Is anyone too blind to see how furious they'll be if they'll take us alive? Pity the young whose bodies are strong enough to survive prolonged torture. Pity the not so young whose old frames would break under such ill usage. A man will see his wife violently carried off. He will hear the voice of his child crying "Daddy" when his own hands are fettered. Come, while our hands are free and can hold a sword, let them do a noble service. Let us die unenslaved by our enemies and leave this world as free men in companies with our wife and children. So they were not as silent and peaceful the way you were listening to me reading it. He had a very strong opposition. They were all Orthodox. What do you mean? You, Rabbi, you're the one who told us that if a Jew commits suicide, he's not going to be buried in a cemetery because only God is the one to separate the soul from the body. And therefore, he's going to be buried out of the fence. And when the Messiah comes, he's not going to be resurrected. So what do you want? Me to kill myself? Contradict everything I believed in all my life? And spoil it in the last second of my life? No way. Let them come and kill me. Rest in peace. The warrior would say, Rabbi, after lousy 3 years here, you want me to offer this fortress on a golden platter like a present to my enemies? No way. I'm going to stand there wherever they're going to jump from. I'll kill as many soldiers as possible. And one of them will eventually kill me. That's when I rest in peace. But give it to them? No way. Then you have the reasonable or the coward. The coward, they said, they offered to spare our life. Why did you turn the offer down, big shot? Even if you could spare one life, and on and on and on. But the majority went along with the rabbi. And therefore, because of the suspicions, etc., they chose a very cruel way to put an end to themselves. The man had to bring his wife and children in front of the synagogue and kill his wife and children with a sword. I want to believe that they were insane at that time, and it's not for us to judge them. Nobody faced the cruel Roman army here. Now the men killed the wives and children, did not kill themselves, because if I kill my wife and children, I want to remain alive to make sure you're doing the same thing. You're not getting away with it. Very simple to say, when all the women and children were dead, the men gathered somewhere else on the platform, and by drawing lots, they chose 10 men whose job was to kill all other men. The 10 men, one killed another, and the last one killed himself. So on the one hand, they solved a very important, a very religious problem. They did not commit suicide, they were killed. They took a risk of only one person not killing himself, and he took a risk of not being resurrected. That was the end of the story. So how do we know what happened? 2 women and 3 kids were hiding in one of the systems. Probably their father or man, whoever was in charge there, said, go, run away. They came up and they met this frustrated Roman general, almost want to kill the whole world, finding only cadavers around, and they told him the story. He then told the story when he went back home to Josephus Flavius, the famous historian, that recorded it in his book. Now, what I read to you is Josephus Flavius, and I will explain it later. Now, that was the end, but it left a very important message to us Israelis. 2,000 years ago, we were surrounded by 10,000 Romans. Now we are surrounded by 400 million Arabs that are not exactly our friends. And we have to be a very special nation to cope with it. This place is helping us. How do you survive? Only if your children walk in your footsteps. That's true for a family, that's true sometimes for a business, and it's very true for a country. And then, when you want them to walk in your footsteps and you want them to understand how important it is for the Jewish people to have a piece of land under their feet called Sder, the Holy Land. And therefore, we were discussing it earlier, if the children have Zionist parents, they'll bring their boys and even bat mitzvah sometimes to celebrate the bar mitzvah here in this little synagogue. And it's not going to be a big affair. No 2,000 sandwiches and a band. It's just the tefillin, the immediate family with the rabbi. He will read the parsha, the chapter of the week, and that's when his father will tell him. You see what you're doing? At a place where 2,000 years ago, Jews chose to kill themselves to die noble and free people. You are noble. You are free. You have your own country. You have your army, your air force protecting you. You live as a proud Jew in your own country. Remember that. That's when they are 13. When they are 17, before going to the army, that's what happened to me, we were taken to the Yad Vashem Memorial. And we would, again, walk through the museums. And at the end of our visit, they gathered us. We were 17. And they said, now you see what happens. You just learned what happened to us Jews when we were dispersed all over Europe as a hated minority, unable to defend ourselves. This should not happen again. Next year you're going to the army, and it's your job to protect this Masada, to protect this. A year after, we found ourselves in the army. And after almost 6 months practicing maneuvers, they brought us here at midnight. At midnight, we got the Bible and a rifle. And at the end of the ceremony, we yell, I swear, the Masada should never fall again. That means we understood the value of having this country, and we will be willing to fight and maybe lost our lives, sacrifice our lives for this country. This night is the most important night in the life of this country, because it's the night that this place becomes the symbol of continuity. This night, that's the night we give the baton to our children, the soldiers, now they're children, right? And tell them, run to win the race. You cannot afford to come second. We cannot accept mediocrity. And him to his. That means this country in the Middle East represents quality versus quantity. We cannot afford to lose the quality. And therefore, prepare yourself to a better day. When you're strong and proud like we are now, extend your hand for peace and see if they'll shake this hand. But no one shakes a weak hand. A weak hand is broken by your enemies. You keep a strong hand and give them a reason to live in peace with you. That's what we are doing. That's the Masada philosophy. Meanwhile, and I can tell you, I think I said it once, the example is the war in Gaza. We could finish it in 3 days, but we didn't, because we have to live with our morals and ethics. So that's the way it is today. This place is dear to us. This is the place that help us convey a message to a younger generation. And we have a lot of competition in it. We have the computers, the tableau, it's everything that, and the worst enemy is when you accept something for granted. Because it's the fourth or fifth generation already. When I tell them, it's true for anything else. The person who didn't toil for something doesn't have the same respect for the man who really worked hard for it. So we need something to convey the message, and this something is this. So that's the Masada philosophy. Now, since you're going back home tomorrow, I want you to be our goodwill ambassadors. And it's not a big, difficult mission. Anyone, your friends, right? I want you to tell them that you've been here. Please tell them about the traffic jam. Tell them about you walked with me in the old city of Jerusalem, you never looked behind your shoulders. Tell them that Jews and Arabs do not love each other, but they found a way to coexist one next to the other. Tell them that there's normal life here, that you didn't see tanks in every corner. Tell them of the rich buffets. Tell them of the normal life. And tell them to come and visit us. Because I believe a person who comes here the first time goes back home different. I don't want anyone saying the Jews are right and the Arabs are wrong. But come to see it for yourself. Because when you sit on your armchair, watch the CNN breaking news, after being here, you're watching it with a selective mind. You know how to pick the truth out of it. That's the Masada philosophy. Thank you for listening, and we go. Yeah? Yeah.